I'm Eugene Chips, and I'm about to be interviewed by the great Fazio. Starting to make some parts for them, but you just have to pay a lot for them.
All right, here we are, 2022 Class Racer Nationals New Media Dragway. And I just, you think AMC, and you think about all the wonderful cars they made over the years. The Hornet, the Gremlin, the Pacer, one of my all-time favorites. But they definitely got their act together when they came up with the AMX. I love these cars. I love seeing these cars out in NHRA class racing competition. This particular car is competing in Super Stock this weekend, and it's driven by Eugene Chips. Eugene, how you doing, sir?
Good, good. You?
Excellent. Love this car. Eugene, tell everybody where you come from.
Fairmont, West Virginia.
And how long to get here?
5 hours.
5 hours,
Yeah.
All right. I haven't seen that car much this year, so it is cool to see this car out. These AMXs, this is a 70 AMX, right? Competing in Super Stock under the GT designation, GTH Automatic. GT is where you run an engine and a body of differing years. So this is a 70 AMX running a 69 AMX engine, correct?
That's correct.
All right, what size and horsepower rating and everything for this engine?
This engine right here it used to be 315, and now it's down to 290 horsepower.
And
Refactored.
it's a 390 cubic inch.
Yes.
And it was factored at 315, and now it's been defactored
Yes,
to 290.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what is your index and minimum weight for the GTH Automatic class?
It's 1050, and minimum weight for this one is 2925.
Okay, now in Super Stock, you have still pretty strict rules, but not quite as strict as in Stock Eliminator. You still have to use stock block crank heads. What are the valve sizes on these heads?
I think they're 2-inch and 160 something.
Okay, now the cam does not have to be stock lift in Super Stock, so you can run as much lift as you want. The carburetor does have to remain factory. What kind of carburetor is on here?
That's a Carter AFB, 600 CFM.
600. Okay, so they're not that big. It's
No,
a pretty
they're
small
not.
carburetor.
No.
Did AMX run any bigger carburetors than that, or is that
That's what come
max?
on most of them was those, except the Super Stock cars, and they come with two
Now,
polys.
these AMXs were made for Super Stock racing, am I correct? It was a race production vehicle?
Yes.
Now, is it a situation where they only made so many of these, 50 of these, something like that?
The original Super Stock cars, they made 52. Then they had a production line of like this ones and other ones that had smaller motors, but they had 2,000 or 3,000.
Right. Now, I know there's, at a race I was at recently, there was a gentleman there running an AMX with a 290 cubic inch engine. So that was not a race only motor. That was I guess a street engine that he turned into a Super Stock car.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
correct.
Now the AMXs, you said, have a different wheelbase than, say, an AMC Javelin.
That's correct.
Now the AMX is a shorter or longer wheelbase?
Shorter, 97 inches.
Wow, that is pretty short.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it is on the regular Javelin?
I don't know what they are.
Okay.
I know the bodies are 1 foot longer, the bodies are, that's all I know.
All right. Well, let's take a peek inside the car. What kind of transmission and torque converter are you running?
I'm running a Cohen torque converter.
What size?
It's 7-inch.
Wow, this is really nice. This interior.
904 transmission.
Who builds the tranny?
Mike Graham out of Virginia Motorsports.
Very cool. And what kind of rear in this car?
Ford 9-inch rear.
Okay, what kind of gear ratio?
568.
And these are some pretty big tires on here. So with that gear ratio and these huge tires, what kind of RPM are you turning out with this car?
It'll go through the traps probably about 8,100.
And what are you launching and shifting at?
I launched the car at 3,000 RPM on the foot brake, and then shifted at 7,200 first, and then third gear, went into third gear at 74.
All right, now in Super Stock, you are allowed to run trans brakes and air shifters. You choose not to run a trans brake?
That's correct. It just eats up the transmission, doesn't go any faster.
And it doesn't sound like you need it because you just had in the quarterfinal run there a 004 light to get the win. You're down to 3 cars in super stock. Can you tell us what kind of ETs you've been running today?
Been running 15s and 14s.
10 15s?
Yes. 10.
What kind of mile per hour?
129.
Okay, so car's definitely running well. Let's take a look in the back here. Who built the car?
I built all the sheet metal. The chassis was built by a guy up in Chicago named Pudlow.
And how long have you had the car?
About 12 years.
Okay, so you got the cell, you got the 16 volt battery back here, and you have a 12 volt battery too.
That
Small
other
one.
one's just ballast.
All right.
You're allowed to have 2.
Right. Allowed to have 2 batteries in the trunk in super stock. Now the engine that you're running, who built that?
At A.H. Atkins, out of Ravenswood, West Virginia.
Yes, and I know A.H. Atkins because I actually just raced him recently. He runs an AMX as well, a yellow AMX, and in super stock. So his stuff definitely runs fast. I guess you picked the right guy to build your stuff
Yeah,
too.
that was the only guy. Well, there was a couple, but I felt he would do a better job for me.
Now, how hard is it to find these parts for an AMX? And not everybody runs these things.
No, they're getting easier. They're starting to make some parts for them, but you just have to pay a lot for them.
I know the feeling with the small block Ford old school stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
all right, that's cool. You're going into the semifinal round. You're down to 3 cars. Let's see what you can do there. We wish you luck this weekend, and thanks for coming out.
I appreciate it. Thank you.